Hi there, Rick here. Just making a YouTube video on the vinyl window industry again. Um, so this one company, okay, it was actually Sam and Alice's company. They're from Shanghai, and okay, so fast forward a bit. Um, Kenny, the guy who used to be in the office as the kind of like the office salesman. He was replaced, and with a lady from China, okay, and I think she was in her 20s, maybe maybe around 27, okay. Um, Her English, it seemed okay, but when talking to her, sometimes I wasn't sure how much she really understood me, because I was phoning into her to get quotes for different houses I was measuring, so with some windows or patio doors, and there was a large order, okay, that I was trying to get a quote for, whole house package. I think there was like 17 windows and one patio door, and I was asking her for a price, and she gave me a price, and I think about 2 weeks later, I was trying to make a change to it, and so I had called her again, and then she says to me, Rick, your order is ready. And then I go, what? And then she says, oh, your Fred order is ready. And I said, well, I didn't tell you to put the order in production. I was just trying to get a quote from you. So obviously she didn't quite understand me, and she put in a $7,000 order for a whole house package for vinyl windows and patio door. So it was okay. This is quite a big mistake, okay, because you know, you put an order in for like $7,000 into the warehouse, okay, and you know I didn't even ask for it, okay, and I had to go back to the customer and say, well, I try to convince him to not make those changes, and you know, go with the original style windows that we went with. And I didn't tell him that, okay, we put your order into production by accident. And then you know, a few days later, he said, okay, I'll go ahead with the order. And then when I was in the warehouse, okay, I was trying to straighten it out with her. I was talking to her, and Alice, okay, the owner, saw me talking to her, and well, she didn't like it, okay, because I think the secretary told her what had happened, and she probably, well, put her hand over her mouth and go, oh my God, you know, and because you have to remember, okay, a lot of hours goes into the warehouse making these windows, okay, plus the material, okay. And then I was saying to her, I forget her name, but I was saying to her, you know, you didn't hear me say anything about putting the order in production, right? And then she didn't say anything, right? Because what could she say, right? You know, there was nothing she could say. She was just looking left and right? Like, you know, kind of like panic stricken. And Alice comes over and said, no, everything's okay. Don't talk to her anymore. Don't talk to her. And because I think she was freaking out a little bit too, right? Because you know, she knew the big mistake she made. You know, you made like a $7,000 mistake in the company, okay? And well, imagine if the customer didn't go ahead with the order, okay? You know how much trouble she would have been in, right? You know, here you got 16 vinyl windows, patio door, okay, And you know, a lot of these are custom sizes, and wow, they're almost useless. You might as well just throw it in the garbage, because you can maybe salvage the locks or something like that, but the glass, everything, okay, is cut to custom sizes, okay? I guess over time, okay, I don't know why, but maybe they wanted another secretary for the office, okay? And well, I found that her English was, just trying to communicate with her was even harder than communicating with the last secretary. And just trying to talk to her about my order, and you know, sort out quotes, okay? She was having trouble, okay, understanding me, okay? And even the style windows, I was talking to her about the style windows. She was, it seemed like she was having trouble too, okay? And when I was talking to the old secretary, like I say, I forget her name, I was telling her about the story, how, you know, I like doing business with you better because such and such, boy, her English just, it doesn't seem like she quite understands you know, when you're talking to her. So she cannot communicate with people in a normal conversation, okay? And you have to remember, okay, you're in the office as a salesperson, you're dealing with thousands of dollars, okay, in sales, okay? You make a mistake, you can easily, well, you could see you could cause the company $7,000 of a mistake, okay? And that is huge for the company, okay? Because the company, I would say, is probably was a smaller size vinyl window company, okay? Not a medium size, not a big one, okay? It was a smaller size. They're only producing maybe about 16, 17 vinyl windows a day, okay? And they were getting their patio doors delivered from another place that was specializing in building these patio doors, okay? Um, I, um, I try to be patient, you know, well, with just about anybody coming from another country, because, you know, I know how hard it is, okay? Because, you know, my parents were from overseas, okay? They still had to learn English. You know, these young people, okay, coming from overseas, they have to learn English too, right? Some of them already know how to speak English because, you know, they learn English in their country of origin, and then, you know, when they came over here, okay, they only needed well, maybe a few more months of practice, and they were pretty fluent with the language, okay? I remember I had a friend from Shanghai, okay? He also worked with me one summer full time, and I think part time for a little while too, okay, for, you know, part of the year, and then full time during the summertime. But he was from Shanghai. Because he came when he was 7 years old, he could drop his Shanghai accent, okay, his Chinese Shanghai accent, and then talk English normally, okay. Then when I hear him talking to his parents, okay, his accent would come back in, okay. But that's only because he came to Canada when he was 7 years old, okay. Yeah, it's always better if you can come to the country early and then learn the language and go to school here for a while. That's always quite good, because I've spoken to other people from China that came in their teens, and they found it, I think, a lot harder to learn English, okay? Because you have to remember, a lot of your classmates are already pretty fluent in English, okay? And then, you know, you're still struggling with the language. You're probably behind in a lot of subjects too, because, you know, the textbooks, everything is taught in English, right? And you're still trying to learn the language, and, you know, you're maybe in your mid-teens or your late teens, right? So, you know, it's not that easy, okay? um, I find in Richmond too, I think some people kind of call it like the mini Hong Kong, and, you know, you can get by, okay? um, you don't even need English probably if you live in Richmond, okay? And some of the people, you know, they don't even bother to even learn the language, which is not good, put it that way, okay? Um, because what happens when you have to move outside of the city of Richmond, right? You know, you have to communicate English, you know. Um, when I go to Richmond and I'm in, you know, Home Depot, you know, I hear some of the, wow, one time I overheard a conversation, okay? And the store salesman was telling the person what aisle to go to find the item they were looking for. And the person couldn't understand them. So I stepped in and translated, okay, um, what aisle to go to, okay? And then the person understood, okay? Of the vinyl window company, when people phone in, um, well, to maybe get some quotes, right? And if they realize, yeah, you can't speak English that well, or you know, they'll they'll deter from doing business with you. Okay, they'll just want to do business with another company. Okay, because they're afraid that there might be a miscommunication and the order gets messed up. Okay, you have to remember you're dealing in thousands of dollars here sometimes, right? I think well, Sam and Alice were trying to be salespeople, okay, but they just weren't good at it, okay. And they tried to bring in I could see they tried to bring in some different people, but it just seemed like it just never seemed to work out right. um, because from working in the warehouse building these windows and seeing how they were made, okay, um, I could see how long it took for a good company to make a vinyl window, okay? And then I looked at, well, a smaller company, how long it took for them. And it seemed like it took the smaller company about put it this way, a lot longer to make these vinyl windows. And I just think that just came from experience um, of um, working with in the industry, okay? Um, I still remember that one company that I was with, Sam and Alice's, boy, their patio door locks. I had two very experienced workers working with me, okay? And sometimes, well, Arnold was working with me, okay? He had like 25 years experience. He had trouble, okay, adjusting these locks, okay? It was just one of the toughest locks to literally set to work properly, okay? Even if you're off by a little bit, okay? You almost had to be within the 2 millimeter range, okay? If you're off by 2 millimeters, this lock wouldn't close properly. It wouldn't lock, okay? And it took me, I guess, maybe a month and a half to literally get good at it. I devised a way to figure out, how to get these locks to line up properly, okay? But before that, I remember when I was on the job site with two of my experienced workers, wow, it must have took us, all three of us, about an hour and a half, and my worker, Brian, got the lock to fit, to close properly. But it was a nightmare. Just to take a guess, at some of the other installers, I think they were having the same problems too, okay? But they figured it out as well, okay? But I still think it took them quite a long time to figure out how to do it, okay? Before they actually got good at it. And maybe it was one of their workers, maybe it wasn't the boss, okay? So, one of the workers has that special skill. He knows how to get the locks to work, because it was very tricky, okay? When I was with this other company, I would say that this was a fairly large company, okay? Um, I had my own office. It was like 800 square feet. That I could see partitions over on the other side, some other workers working. And, you know, they had some, you know, good people working in the office, you know, intelligent people, okay? You know, they would do some big projects. I still remember they would do this one big project. It was a high-rise building, okay, apartment building. I know, maybe about 9 stories, okay. The 3 owners, they, I won't tell you the company, okay. They had finished 7 floors already with aluminum windows, okay, and the owners, okay, the partnership between the 3 guys, they weren't expecting material to go up by as much as 30%. Anyways, it bankrupted them, okay, and well, to make a long story short, okay, the company lost $750,000, okay. I don't know what happened to the last 2 floors, okay, whether or not they were done, but I found out that, you know, there was no deposit put down, okay? And I said to my boss, why would you not collect deposit? The order is so big, okay? And he said, well, I thought that, okay, the owners were planning on fixing it up and then flipping it, selling the apartment, okay? And then making lots of money, okay? Then the window company would have got paid, okay? Because they would have had the money from the sale, and then they would pay the vinyl window company. So they lost $750,000. So you can see the amount of money sometimes that's involved, okay? Especially the big projects, okay? Big projects are very big money sometimes. And I had to go measure in one of these high-rise buildings for one of these windows. And I drew a sketch out too, okay? I took a picture of it on the outside, the inside, okay? Back at the office, I showed the salesman, yeah, I even showed him the picture from my camera, so he could see what it looked like, okay? Inside, outside, I went over the paperwork with him. Anyways, when we put the order in production, oh, and English, okay, you know, he understood English, okay? When we put the window in production, he put the wrong style in, okay? And, you know, this was quite a long window, okay? And I think it cost the company a bit of money. And the boss was talking to me about it. And then, well, I was just telling him, you know, I took pictures of it. I even drew a diagram. I went over with the salesman what the style of the window was going to be. But somehow it got messed up, okay? The wrong style was made. And, you know, it cost the company a bit of money, okay? That's why it's so important to, you know, just, you know, understand, okay? Have a good knowledge, understanding of English. Just being careful, okay, in what you do, okay, in the industry, okay? Because if you're not careful, it could easily cost the company a few $1,000s, okay? I still remember I was at this one house in Burnaby, okay? Supposed to install all the windows on the house, a patio door. I think there was 16 windows, a patio door, something like that. I was there at the house with the worker. Show up at the front of the customer's home, okay? I knock on the customer's door. Just talking to her, okay? And she goes, that's not the color I asked for. I asked for a different color. I said, are you sure? And then she goes, yeah. And so I found out later, okay, the salesman, okay, when he was rewriting the order again, okay? Ticking the right box, okay, for the right color, for the color of the frame of the window. He ticked the wrong box, okay? That is just, I don't know, just terribly clumsy, okay? You know, if you know that you're clumsy, go over the work twice. Go over it 3, 4 times, maybe even 5 times if you know that you're clumsy, okay? So anyways, to make a long story short, I couldn't install the windows that day because it was the wrong color. Brought all the windows back, the patio door back to the warehouse. I saw the customer at the boss's office. She came by to talk to the owner because she had made another purchase from another house before. And I guess, you know, she wanted, you know, a special discount because, you know, you messed up her order, okay? And in a way, I was not surprised because I felt that the salesman at that company was just, he was clumsy, okay? I remember there was another house, okay? Most of all the okay, there was a lot of windows, okay? And then even some of the windows had to have mutton bars in them, okay? I think all the downstairs windows were in brick, and then a lot of the upstairs windows had mutton bars, okay? He got all the window styles wrong, okay? And I think there was a total of maybe 24 windows. He measured all the windows the wrong size, okay? And when you measure windows that go in between bricks, okay, they have to be measured a certain way, okay? Because it's supposed to go in between the brick. It's not supposed, vinyl window's not supposed to butt up to the brick, okay? And he measured it the wrong way, okay? So you measured 24 windows the wrong way, okay? And then the mutton bar style, you got that wrong, okay? So that's 24 windows, okay? And even the patio door was the wrong because it had mutton bars in there as well, but he got the wrong style, okay? So sometimes, and you know, he, I think English was his first language, okay? So I don't know. Sometimes I kind of wonder, you know, what these guys are thinking when they're, you know, writing up the order. You know, is their mind, I don't know, somewhere else? Because I was talking to the manager about this order, and I was just saying to him, you know, how can you get 24 windows the wrong size, okay? Even if you're guessing at some of the measurements of some of the windows, you would maybe get 2 or 3 right, okay? I don't think he said anything, but when I was talking to the salesman again, okay, you know, he looked pretty sad, right? You know, he was saying, yeah, that order cost me big time, yeah, because not only do I think he didn't collect his commission from that order, okay, he had to pay for that big, huge mistake out of his own pocket, okay, because the owner wasn't going to pay for it, okay. You know, I think the owner was said to him, you know, if I'm going to have to pay for this huge mistake that you made, okay, I'm not going to use you as a salesman at this company anymore. Yeah, because you know, if I was the owner, I wouldn't want to pay for it either. You know, why should he pay for it when, you know, it's not his mistake? And you know, the salesman, you know how clumsy he is already, right? If you know you're clumsy, is to double check 3 times, 4 times, maybe even 5 times your work, right? But you have to remember some of these mistakes. Wow, you know, just to make a small little mistake, you're costing the company, like, you know, sometimes in the thousands of dollars already, right? I was measuring a lot of these windows, and you know, I saw the importance of, well, my work too, right? You know, I felt that, you know, I was valuable to the company, right? Because one, you're saving the company thousands of dollars, okay? You're filling in a position where nobody else can do it, right? Um, because in this company too, well, I remember Amrique, the sales guy that spoke East Indian hardly any English at all, right? He was in that company too. Could you imagine sending him out to measure the windows? You know, I already thought that he was a kind of a clumsy worker. Okay, the reason why I say that was because, you know, I was at a service call one time, and okay, usually when you caulk around the window, right, you know, you're supposed to do it a little bit slow, and you know, when you're smoothing out the caulking, okay, it has to be done a little bit slower, okay. But you know, when he was caulking, it was just boom, 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 okay, the four sides, and then he just ran his finger boom, 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 boom like this, and he wiped it on the paper towel, okay. And then the customer saw that, okay. And then when he wasn't there, the customer asked me, he said, why does your partner, why does he caulk so sloppy? And you know, I just said to him, you know, that's just the way he works. You know, what else could I say, right? You know, the caulking job was good. I knew it was sloppy, okay? And I didn't bother to tell him just because, you know, a lot of times when I talk to him, um, I don't think he really understands me, right? But, you know, sometimes too, okay, you have to put your mind into something, right? You have to have a passion for it, okay? You know, you're going to do the service call, okay? Don't think that you're there just to, okay, I'm there, you know, I have to, you know, get the work done, bang, 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 really fast. No, sometimes it takes, um, you have to put your mind into the work, okay? You have to be more careful. You have to slow down and, you know, do a good job, okay? Otherwise, yeah, being the service guy is not for you, right? Because that's what the customers are looking for. They're looking for nice work, okay, from you, okay? They also want you to fix the problem, okay? Um, you have to think about sometimes, okay, um, does it look like I'm doing the work sloppy, okay? And if Amory couldn't even tell that, you know, he was doing the work sloppy, and you have to remember too, the customer's standing right there. They're seeing how sloppy you're doing the work, right? You know, um, they're gonna maybe even phone the office when you, you know, before you get back or when you get back, and they're gonna complain. They're gonna say, you know, that service guy that you sent out, you know, he was so sloppy with the caulking. The caulking was all over around the window frame. It was on the window frame. It was on the window sill. Okay. Um, and they're not happy, right? You know. Um, when it comes to maybe giving referral, okay, they don't want to give you any referral. Um, you know, they're not happy with the work, right? They're maybe thinking, you know, I think there's another vinyl window company out there that'll do a lot better than yours.